Today we're talking about the Perfect Storm, breaking it down, aka Dragoon, and I brought in Hillbilly, making this a pro tip video. What is up, my friends? My name is Equithroomie, and today I'm here with Hillbilly, and he's walking us through how he does his famous Dragoon attack using 3 lightning spells and 1 earthquake spell. It's a Town Hall 9 attack. We're in Pink Onslaught today, part of the Circle of Clans, and like I said, Hillbilly is here to educate us. How you doing today, Hillbilly?
I'm doing great, Echo. Thanks for having me on today. Yeah, this attack is something we've been working on for a while, and our good friend Perfect Dragoon did a video on this. He called it the Perfect Storm attack. That was the name he chose for it. And it's successful against a lot of these new meta bases. With the setup of the new meta bases and with a little practice, the only thing you really had to pay close attention to is the time, because we both know dragons are incredibly strong, but they're incredibly slow.
Yeah, they definitely are.
So time is definitely a factor. You have to pay attention to that.
So what's the first thing you look for in a base when you're going in with this Perfect Storm?
The first thing I look for is look at for instance, I use this on base 18 in the current war. And what I look for 2 air defenses in close proximity to each other.
Okay.
And then an additional air defense that can be accessed by my Archer Queen from the outside of the base. Right. If I can get 3 air defenses down with 3 lightnings and a quake, well, I'll get 2 with 3 lightnings and a quake and won't my Archer Queen, then I know I'm good to go with the Perfect Storm attack. And as you can see on base 18, we have 2 air defenses with a single tile in between them. They're offset, but that's fine. And then we have additional air defense that can be reached from the outside of the base by my Archer Queen. And the king will tank the queen while she snipes that air defense. Right. And I'll also use that queen when I start to pick off that builder hut. And by the way, on this base, you have to pay attention to your sweepers. You don't want to take on both at once. So on this base, I chose to zap quake the air defenses at the 9 o'clock corner and use my heroes to get the air defenses at the 3 o'clock corner if you're looking at a watch.
Okay.
But I'm careful to start my queen where she'll start with that builder hut before she heads in, because I want to make sure my corners are clear before I get moving.
Right.
Otherwise, time will become an issue.
All right, shall we get into it right now and you can tell us how it goes?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, let's start it in 3, 2, 1, and play. What's going on here? Tell us through.
First thing I do is drop an earthquake, and then I'm going to drop 2 lightnings. The reason I drop 2 instead of all 3, you want to kind of watch. You see how the one's got a little more health than the other? Yeah. You kind of want to be careful and drop the 3rd lightning on the side where the air defense has more health. That'll help from failing. And I'm going to drop a baby dragon up there to hopefully clean up that corner, because there's no air targeting defenses up there.
Right, looking good. And
it will clean my corner and start. At this point, I started my king and queen. And then my air defenses are deep enough, I'm going to start my dragons early. I just lost my baby dragon to a black bomb, but that's okay. And I started my dragons early because, you know, they're very slow.
Right.
I knew my queen would get there in time before that air defense targeted my dragons. And my dragons are moving along just fine. I'm going to start a few balloons and a hound toward that last air defense right before the dragons get into range.
Yeah, it's looking good so far.
Being tanked. Yeah. And unfortunately, my baby dragon up there died, and I didn't get my funnel at the top, but that's okay. Because I'm going to start a few loons right back here, because my next threat in this base is those expos.
Right.
That's my next real threat. And as you see, I just dropped the rage there where the high hit point buildings are, because I knew I had my balloons coming up to tank the expos, and my dragons would take out under rage those high hit point buildings, and they would still be under the rage effect when they encountered the expos.
Yeah, that worked out well.
And now these last balloons will end up being little tanks for me up here at the Tesla farm. As you can see, as this raid comes to a close, you can see those balloons are tanking not only the Archer towers, but the Tesla farm.
Works out beautiful.
Tower. Yeah, so you just get everything going the same direction and force it that way. And keep, like I said, I like to hold a few balloons. That armor comp is usually what I take. I'll usually take 8 dragons, 10 balloons, a baby dragon, a rage, either a haste of my own or a CC haste, and then 3 lightnings, a rage, and an earthquake. And sometimes I'll take a CC Earthquake. Sometimes I'll take a CC Haste.
Okay, and I noticed no poison spells. You don't really need that with the dragons, right? They can really take care of
No,
anything
you don't
that
need
pops.
poison. Yeah, and actually this is a fresh hit, so I didn't know it was in the CC. Sometimes a witch CC can be a problem, as you're about to see. I almost time failed on this because these dragons flew over to kill the skeletons.
I see that.
Yeah, they flew over to kill the
going
skeletons
the wrong
instead
way.
of going. Yeah, so I nearly time failed on this, but I had 7 or 8 seconds left on the regular clock. But it made me a little nervous when the dragons went up there after the skeletons.
And they move so slow. It's so hard to watch when the time is ticking and you have dragons going after something.
Yes. Speed, like I said, your biggest enemy on this attack is the clock.
Yeah, I understand. All right, well, that was a beautiful one right there. Any last things that you want to mention from this attack before we move on to your second one?
Well, like I said, this is a fresh hit, so I didn't know where any traps were. I didn't know where bombs were. Ideally, that baby dragon that I dropped at the 9 o'clock corner would have cleared out that corner, but it caught the black bomb, and that was unfortunate. But that would have sped things along. But you want to try and set a funnel on one corner with a baby dragon where you take out your air targeting, your air defenses, and then your heroes will set the funnel on the other side. And then you basically funnel your dragons in that big wide spot in the middle.
And it worked out well. Shall we jump over to the second attack?
Sure. Okay.
All right, Hillbilly, we're on the second base number 15. What were you looking at here, and what were you thinking?
Well, I was looking at the same thing I was looking at on the first base. Even though this is set up a little different, the air defenses are kind of in the center of the base. If you look closely, you still have 2 air defenses, 1 tile apart.
Yep.
And then you have another air defense that can be accessed by the Archer Queen from outside of the base. And that's the air defense at 12 o'clock is the one I chose to access from outside the base.
Okay.
This was also a fresh hit. I didn't know the CC. But I knew if I could take out that air defense set by the Barbarian King and get that air defense at 12 o'clock, this would be pretty easy, because if you look at the sweepers, if I come in from the 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock side,
right,
the sweepers are not an issue, and my 6 o'clock side is going to be clean from my baby dragon setting the funnel down there. So basically all my dragons are going to be from 8 o'clock, about 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and the air sweepers will not be a factor.
Right. Smart thinking beforehand, worrying about those sweepers.
Yeah, the sweepers are very important to pay attention to the direction of the sweepers.
Are you ready to jump into this attack and walk us through it?
Let's get into it. This is a quick one. This went well.
3, 2, 1, and play. What's going on?
Okay. Okay, first, same as the last, I'm going to do 2 lightnings first, then my 3rd lightning second. I'll wait till I see the effect of my first 2.
Got it.
And then I'll do my 3rd, but I'll drop it closer to that bottom one because it had a little more health left.
Gotcha. Smart.
And now I'm going to start my baby dragon down by the laboratory. Then I'll go up north and start my heroes.
Okay.
Here's my Barbarian King, and here comes my Queen.
Her job is to work her way in.
Yep, my dragons are starting from the barracks up to the camp. I'm going to sprinkle in a couple of loons behind the dragons, all the while watching my heroes. You see, the Barbarian King's doing a great job tanking. And now my Queen comes back to get the air defense.
Perfect.
And at this point, I'm going to be starting my Hound and a couple of loons behind the Hound with a haste. Because that sweeper now is an issue to that Hound. But, as you can see, it goes down pretty quick.
A lot of drags coming in right behind there, too.
Yeah. So it timed out very well. And at this point, I knew it was game over, because at this point he really had nothing left to stop me. My heroes are still alive. Both heroes are still alive.
Yeah, look at that.
And as you can see, the balloons are doing a great job tanking for that dragon. The Archer Queen's coming up to assist. There's 2 Teslas left at this point.
Yeah, they have no shot at defending against this.
Yeah. I mean, this went perfect, textbook, right according to plan. The only thing that made this go over 2 minutes was eventually you'll see that Hound pop, so that slowed my progression down just a little.
Okay, yeah.
The Archer Queen just targets the Hound.
Still, 2-minute attack.
So they're gonna
quick.
Yeah, against a max base. The Barbarian King was not max level, but once again, this is an air attack, so the Barbarian King level doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Well, that was a nice one as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it again while we just sum things up and talk about any last-second tips. And I'll tell you, I've seen you do this attack before, and there was a time or two that I saw you do the Zap Quake and only need to use 2 lightnings. That's
Yes.
possible?
That is possible, except it's extremely rare. Lightning does area splash damage, and if you get really, really lucky, I mean, it's happened to me twice in all the time I've done this attack.
Right.
Yeah, I've gotten it with 2 lightnings, and that's another reason I do 2 lightnings first. I think it's just blind luck. But when that does occur,
sure.
Yeah, when it does occur, which it's happened to me like twice in all the times I've done this attack. But what I'll do, I'll spend that 3rd lightning softening up my inner air defense.
Yep.
On the other side.
Yep, that's what
which
you
would
did.
have been the one.
Very well.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen often, but on occasion it will.
On a good day.
But the key, on a good day, when the Clash Gods are smiling upon you. But the key is to use your balloons sparingly, and they will tank for your dragons if you time them appropriately. And it's all about timing, and using. If you notice on this attack, when I use the rage spell, I use the rage spell to finish up in the center there.
Yep.
And it gets the queen, pushes through to those last couple of air targeting defenses, and
just kind of pushed everything straight through right to that right-hand corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And once everything's in that last corner, your dragons are slow, so you have to be aware of dragons being slow. But once they're all converging on everything that's left in the same corner, it's good night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great strategy. That's why I wanted to bring you onto the channel, because I've seen you have so much success with it. I figured we had to have a pro tip video on it. I knew that no one knew this attack better than you, and now I'm learning for the first time that it's called the Perfect Storm. I wasn't even aware. I've been calling it Dragoon the whole time, and no one corrected me on that. But I'll make sure that I have it right on this one.
The Perfect Storm is what we call it because of the 3 lightnings. So
that makes sense.
And it actually works at Town Hall 10 against the right kind of base, believe it or not.
Does it really? Well, when that happens, we're going to have to come through and make sure that we show some type of a replay of that as well. But
okay,
any
Echo,
last minute things you'd like to say to everybody before we get out of here for the day, brother?
No, thanks for having me on, and practice this attack. Timing matters. It takes some practice, but once you get it down, if you spot it at a base with 2 offset air defenses that are 1 tile apart, and another one that can be accessed by the queen from outside the base, it's game on. Try it out.
Friendly challenge in practice, right? So you don't mess it up in war.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for coming down to the channel. I appreciate it. If any of you guys are interested in a great clan family, the Circle of Clans is the place to be. In the Circle, I think we currently have 14 clans. And we're always looking for more members, people that are dedicated to the game, looking for a great family. On top of that, if you want to hit me up, you can always do so over on Twitter or in the comments below. And guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now is a great time to do it. I'll see all of you back here again tomorrow. Thanks again, Hillbilly.
Y'all, thank you, Echo.
You got it, man. Be good.
You too.